Hi, this is Michael Magyar, and I'm at the Glass Studio on Cape Cod. Today we're going to do what we call a pin blow vase. What I'm going to do is I'm going to gather a little glass out of the furnace. And the furnace holds about 300 pounds of molten glass. I'm going to center it here, this metal ring. This is actually a Japanese technique of centering the glass. You probably won't find a tool like this in America. Even Japanese glass blowers, they don't use that. It's more of a factory technique. Early American glass blowers used a metal ring that was similar, but more of an oval shape than round. So it's kind of interesting. So again, I'm just centering my glass. This is a wet newspaper, and that just helps kind of keep it together and centering it. Then I'm going to put some color on it. So we need a rod. I can hang this up here. Gives me a little flexibility, but I have to move pretty quick. So I don't have time for that glass to cool. I wanted a little more glass. And this is called frit, so I can pick up the frit and let it melt in. Very quickly, within 20 seconds, 30 seconds, it's all melted in. Then I'm going to apply it to my bed here. I'm just shaping it, pushing that color bit into the glass. And like I said, we're not going to blow this with our mouth. We're going to use this to blow it. And this is called the pin blow. It's a stainless steel shaft with a little piece of wood on the end of it, and that's been kept in water so it's nice and wet. I'm going to melt that color in just a little bit more. That's pretty good. So I'm getting everything ready for my next gather. I'm going to need my newspaper. And this is a carbon pad. And it's in a fabric. And it's about 99% carbon. So I took glass and I gathered over my color, and I'm going to center this. So when I get done with this, I'm going to need to take it off of this, we call this a punny rod. So I need to, this is called jacks. These are jacks. I'm jacking the piece down. So this will allow me to break it off of this pipe when I'm done with the, when I'm finally finished with the piece. And again, I'm just kind of centering the hot gather I just put on there, kind of keeping it together. I don't want this really round, so I'm going to flatten it here on each side. So you can see it's a little bit oval now. You always have to keep all the pads all very wet all the time. If they get dry and that you put, this glass is 2,000 degrees. You put 2,000 degrees on it, it's going to stick to it. So it's got to be kept wet. So basically now I'm just trying to heat it up and even out all the temperature, my first gather, my color. I'm making sure my jack line is nice and tight. So because that's really critical, I'm going to have to take this off in a minute or so when I get done with this piece. And these are kind of organic, so I'm not really sure I want it totally centered and perfect because I'm going to spin this out. It's going to be pretty crazy. A little air, that just cools down the jack line. Okay. I'm going to need a bigger hole in my furnace, so I'm going to change rings, we call these little ceramic rings. And they're very simple by putting one up and putting one down. These are doors. So basically that just gives me a larger hole. Okay, now we're going to heat it up and then we're going to pin blow it. This is a technique I learned when I was studying and working in Japan. It's really fun. There's a lot of cold work involved. You have to grind and polish the bottom. But other than that, they're pretty fast and they're a lot of fun. Very organic. Most glass making is waiting. You're waiting for it to heat up, you're waiting for it to cool down. Very little is actually forming the glass. Those are usually second increments where you're spending minutes letting it heat up or letting it cool down or shaping it. That looks pretty good, nice and even as I want. One more little reheat. And then we're going to pin blow. I'm going to push in the metal to make a hole. Flip it over, and that little piece of wood is going to seal the hole, but it's wet, so it's going to cause steam. It's like 1 unit of water is like over 1,000 units of steam. So I'll be able to inflate it without using a blowpipe. So I don't know if you can see the hole there. But now see the bubble coming out? Beep. Now it's a blown piece. Is that cool? I think that's way cool. You see there's a little hole in it. And then I don't know if you can see the bubble, but yeah, there's the size of an orange bubble inside there. I kind of want to keep it thick because I'm going to spin this. Getting everything kind of ready. Open that hole up just a little bit. It's going to get very big here very quickly. Okay. real big. We're just about ready. Still getting a little hotter here. And as a centrifugal force, spinning this is going to kind of make an oval bowl. We call these gondolas because it kind of reminds me of a gondola. So it's kind of a little bit of a sculptural, kind of asymmetric bowl. Again, I told you about this jack line. This is so critical to be able to break this off of the blowpipe. And I'm going to heat up the lip a little bit because that's thin and cold while my main body stiffens up and gets colder. So that gives me a chance to kind of heat up that little thin lip while the main body stiffens up. So I take a little file, just kind of make my mark. And a little drop of water right on that jack line. This fork is going to fall out, but that's okay. And then what we're going to do is to put it in the annealing oven to cool very slowly. So just by hitting the pipe, it releases at that jack line. And now that's really rough and uneven, but we can grind and polish that foot and make it nice flat. But that's what we call a Japanese pin blow.